gentlemen, good evening.
Greetings and welcome to Georgian Crossroads and Beyond. I'm your host, Byrne, and today we are preparing to go beyond Georgia to take a 2-week trip to Florence, Italy at the beginning of January 2025. So I am preparing to take a trip to Florence, Italy, and I thought I would bring you along with me with the preparations and then on the trip itself, and to understand why I'm going and how I will be getting there and what I will be doing once I'm there. So why am I going to Florence, Italy, one of the most touristed cities in the world? That is a very good question, one I will try to answer for you in this short-ish video. One thing that's happened is the 5-year residence permit that I had here in Tbilisi, Georgia, has run out. The good news is that I am now on the yearly plan. That means every 365 days I have to take a trip and get my passport checked through customs again. And then starts another 365 days. So earlier this year, I went to Alaska and to parts of Western Europe. And you may remember that trip if you followed me on the Anadromist, where I have a whole set of what I call my library diaries. And they are worth following. Maybe I'll put a link somewhere nearby. Another year is coming up, and I decided on going to a place that I've always wanted to go to, and that's Florence, Italy. So when I think about why I want to travel to Florence, big questions arise. Why do I want to travel to one of the most touristed places on earth? What can I do to go there without simply stepping in the same steps every other tourist does when they go there? How do I see the place? How do I get beyond what Walker Percy calls the preform symbol complex? I highly recommend his essay called The Loss of the Creature. And Florence is one of those places extraordinarily important in history, especially for the Renaissance, and so visited that people, I am convinced, can no longer see it. They just see the symbols of the Renaissance. They see all these great works of art, and they see the architecture, and they get a few names from history, but they don't know what they're doing. So how do I avoid doing the exact same thing? Well, here are my answers and my techniques for doing so. First of all, I have chosen the worst time of the year, and that is January 3rd through January 15th. In Tbilisi, it's a very quiet time because the holidays still continue that day. They go on until January 14th. In Italy, it is a quiet time. I actually just spoke to someone recently in Florence, and he said, actually, that's a great time. And if you were here one more week longer, Fashion Week would start. And I was saying, oh no, actually, that might be interesting. But another part of my plan is to stay for 2 weeks in one spot. Now think about how you normally travel. When you're going to someplace like Florence or Paris or London or Amsterdam or Berlin, Prague, Thailand, India. You're thinking, okay, 3 days here, 2 days here, maybe a week somewhere if you want to rest. But what I'm doing is I'm forcing myself to spend 2 weeks in Florence. So the first thing that we can say is that there won't be as many tourists there. I know there will still be tourists there. By contrast with the way I used to live in Alaska, the weather's nothing. Yeah, it might rain, so what? It's not going to be that cold. Staying 2 weeks in a hotel near the train station, near the historic center, is a great place to be. Secondly, I am going with a very, very specific purpose: to understand the Renaissance better. To which some people might say, well, Byrne, can't you just watch some more YouTube videos or read a book or something like that? And I said, yeah, and I have.
If you're traveling to Florence, chances are you will be passing through the city's main train station, Santa Maria Novella.
A good thing to remember, in the high season during the summer, prices will be higher and it will be hot. During the winter months, prices will be lower and it will be colder. I'm studying to become a meteorologist.
You know, I've watched YouTube videos. It's amazing how many repetitious videos there are on Florence. Everyone seems to assume you're going to be there 1, maybe 2 days. They give you the same list to check off, which is why, gosh, how can you even get into these museums? And then when you see the videos of people in the museums, I mean, when I was at the Louvre back in 2018, I made a video of that, of all the people crowding them around the Mona Lisa. And I wonder, why do people go to museums? So I have to go and not simply do that. What I have been doing instead is reading about the Renaissance, including reading The History of the Renaissance. Here's a good one. The History of the Renaissance by Niccolo Machiavelli. Oh, how different this one is. Yeah, that's an old book. But, I've been reading that. I hope to finish it before I get there. If I don't, I'll finish it up when I come back, because the book is too valuable to carry around with me while I travel. I've also got other books. I've got a Rick Steves book on Florence. And I can hear a few of you superior folk out there going, Rick Steves, well, how would you get that book? You can get everything online. And the truth is, you can get a lot online. But having it in a book in one place, not having to scroll through it, looking for things. I've only had my smart, quote-unquote, phone for 2 years or so now. And I hate these things. I prefer having a book. And this book is just Florence and Tuscany. So that's good enough. I'll take it with me. I'm not planning on taking a whole lot more. I've also got another book, Walks Through Florence, and I will try to set up some of those walks that will do me some good. But again, the point is to understand something about the Renaissance. I just watched some stupid video where they ended up saying the whole point of traveling is you. And I go back, no, the whole point of traveling is for me to understand something about it. The Renaissance, in this case, and Italy. So I want to go in order to learn. So that's a big difference, and not learn in a shallow way, but learn in a deep way. Go to these places. For instance, I've made a list of all of the important people who are part of the Renaissance. And it's just, when you start seeing the list, it's just absolutely mind-boggling. Let me let that list kind of scroll over here for you for a few moments. Botticelli, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Masaccio, Brunelleschi, Cimabue, Giotto, Filippo Lippi, Titian, Raphael, Caravaggio, Artemisia Gentileschi. And don't forget, Albrecht Dürer and Rembrandt have important works at the museums in Florence. And then there are the non-artists: Dante, Boccaccio, Machiavelli, Savonarola, Amerigo Vespucci, Galileo Galilei, and the Medici. So that should give you some idea of what I'm up against in the best possible way. And you start looking at these artists, and you start looking at these thinkers, and you start looking at the architects, and you start looking at all this, and you're going, how did all these people fit in one city? I mean, you're going to be walking in the same places where these people walked. It's good to have some knowledge of who they were. Now, fortunately, just finished listening to the Inferno section of Dante's Inferno, a reading of it. I'm, again, reading Machiavelli. I am certainly aware of the other artists. I have books back in Alaska on Sandro Botticelli, on Leonardo. I need probably a good Michelangelo survey, the kind that you build coffee tables with, a serious book on the subject. We live in a time when people don't do that kind of research anyway. I mean, yeah, there are academics, and I suppose they have something to say to each other, but they generally don't communicate to the public. What I'm hoping to do is to go there, do research, but I already feel something else developing in my mind. Part of it could be the question, well, how do we have a renaissance of our own, actual renaissance? Not, they'll often use the word like, the Beatles were a Renaissance band. They did everything. No, they didn't. They didn't paint. I mean, John Lennon did a few drawings. But, we use this word Renaissance artist so casually now. So-and-so, they make movies and they direct films and they write. Ooh, a Renaissance person. It's just silly when you see what these people did. I am going there because, I feel some idea brewing. And I feel if I get there, I'll know what it is. I'm usually not wrong about these things. Usually something comes to, I can feel it coming way before it comes. It's like pieces are assembling. You can feel the puzzle pieces coming together. Now, of course, you know me, with my interest in puppetry, I said to myself, are there any puppet theaters there? I haven't found any yet. However, there is one puppet myth which was born in that area, of which there is a small museum dedicated to this personage. And that is Pinocchio. Carlo Collodi, I think it's the name, is from that area. If I really get adventurous, I might get on a train and go a few kilometers away from the city and go visit his home base. But, so, I'm adding to that knowledge as well. Now, a few practical details. Back in the summer, I already felt I should do this. This is my once-in-a-lifetime serious trip to Florence. I always felt like if I was going to do Florence, it'd be a couple weeks in the winter. Hopefully it rains the whole time, chases the tourists away because tourists hate rain, and that I would actually be able to stand in the presence of a Botticelli Birth of Venus or Michelangelo's David or something, and actually ponder it a while with a lot less people crowding and pushing and shoving. Oh, Lord, I hope so, because, who knows? Even in the winter, there could be too many people. But you go and you learn. But the other thing is that I am not simply going there to go to museums, but also to walk around, think about things, go into parks, even though they will be largely, the flowers will all be dormant and such, but I'll get views. Who knows? Could be bad weather the whole time. It doesn't matter to me because I'm not going there to be a tourist. But I'm in Italy, and I'm going to need to do something while I'm there. And like I was saying, I did purchase my my tickets and my hotel room, airplane tickets and hotel room from Tbilisi to Florence. Now that's not that big a jump, so it wasn't that big a deal financially. I had the money in the summer. I think if I were thinking about the same trip today, well, my finances are a bit different. I'd probably say, I can't afford it. But it's too late. That's why I buy things earlier. It's too late. I have already afforded it. There are a couple of areas where it would be nice if you feel like helping me out. One area is in buying food. Now, I can go there and eat on the cheap. And, just get some cheese and bread and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure I will be doing that. But I'm in Italy. Wouldn't it be wonderful to eat some of that really great Italian food and just get a bit above my usual cheap class? And so if you feel like helping me, you are certainly welcome to. There is one meal there I really want It's the steak Florentine. There's a certain species of cow and a certain method of preparing the species of cow. I don't remember the name offhand, but the species of cow is from Tuscany, and it's a rare, huge breed with excellent meat. The cut of beef is a bit like a T-bone steak, but thicker, but cut when it's served to you in a very unusual way. And all I can say is this is high on my list. However, this is probably going to be something like close to $100. And I'm saying to myself, can I afford that? Well, would you like to help me out? buy Byrne a meal in Florence. That would be one thing. There are other meals that would be nice to have, but that's the one I really care about. I can be cheap all the rest of the time, but if I don't get a little bit of help with that, then I'm going to feel a bit like, I can't afford this, and I don't want to feel that. So if you feel like helping, there is the PayPal link below. Okay, well, this is Byrne from Tbilisi, thanking you all for watching. Yes, I'm okay. Things are uncertain here, but you know what? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the next year. I am not necessarily fully optimistic about anything, but I'm not pessimistic about anything either. We're at a time when things are fluid, which means good possibilities can come as well as bad. Well, from Tbilisi, this is Byrne saying, Droebit, Nakwamdis, and we will meet again.